Hello, welcome to Workplace Wake Up. I'm Jen Shaw. Every week, I spend about 15 minutes covering key legal developments, introducing you to interesting guests, and providing some entertainment to start your workday. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. I cannot believe the month of July is over, although I cannot tell you I am so happy for fall. I just cannot wait for fall to come. In Sacramento, where I live, fall comes a little bit later than for some of you. But we have August coming up, and then September, and by October we should have some fall weather, which would be great. So our topic today is near and dear to my heart. I have been doing a lot of self-reflection lately about saying no. And it's really important in the workplace for a couple of different reasons. And I know that part of my success as a lawyer and as a person is that I say yes a lot. I tell people I can do things, and I do them. I want people to be happy, so I agree to go places and do things and participate in conferences and that sort of thing that sometimes I don't really have time to do. I want people to have what they need right away. So I will sometimes sacrifice a weekend or a holiday or something like that. And the problem is that sends a message to my team. And we are really busy right now. And my team, I think, has been feeling like there's too much on their plates. And the buck really stops with me on that in terms of making sure that doesn't happen. So we've spent the last couple of weeks really talking about work we're no longer going to be doing in the same way. We're going to be sort of minimizing things. We're not going to necessarily take every new client who calls, because we have to be able to give our current clients the best possible service. And I don't want people to be overwhelmed. One of the things that I think is really interesting is, because of my own situation growing up, I grew up in a family where we didn't have money, and my parents had not gone to college. And it was always instilled in me early on to go to college, earn a living, make sure I could provide for myself. And the way my brain sort of interpreted that was do everything I possibly could. So volunteer for everything, do everything. If there was an extra credit project, I was going to do it. If there was an opportunity for some extra activity, I was going to do it, because I felt like that was sort of the definition of success. And I did that in college, and I did that in law school. Every clinic I could do, I did it. Then I was the editor-in-chief of the Law Review, and I did moot court, and I did everything I possibly could. And then I went to a big firm where I wasn't sure what practice area I wanted, so I did all kinds of different work. And it meant I worked a lot of long hours and a lot of late nights, and I didn't spend enough time focused on my personal life and my own sort of personal needs and family needs and those kinds of things. When I had Ella, my daughter, in 2010, the firm decided to make some changes in terms of not doing litigation, so that we really made that change fully in 2017. But we started reducing our litigation load because litigation was just requiring a lot of travel and a lot of trial prep and that sort of thing. But even after all that, I didn't make enough of a change. And our team has really been scrambling. And recently, I was really reminded of the importance of balance and what it means to give your employees balance. And the only way to do that is to say no. There's no way to put 10 pounds of hay in a 5-pound bag. If your bag can't grow, then the hay pile has to shrink. That's all there is to it. And I don't know why, as I'm talking to you, it is such a simple concept to try to make sure that workloads are balanced and that people have the right amount of work and that they're not expected to do too much. We've luckily never had the problem of not having enough work to do. So I've never had to worry about how to spread out work that is too thin, right? It's always the opposite problem. It's always that we have too much work to do. And what is that balance between collaborating and working together to get things done and just having too much, putting those 10 pounds of hay in the 5-pound bag? And it's been a really important life lesson for me. I'm still in the process of figuring it out, but we're making some changes in our firm in terms of not taking so much work and making sure that we have time to complete things correctly and at that A+ quality that our clients expect and that we expect of ourselves. And that means saying no. And all sorts of feelings flood into me when I even think about it, right? What do you mean? Telling a client we can't do something? What if they go find another law firm? What if they go and hire someone else? What if they never come back to us? And the truth is, it just doesn't happen. And if it does happen, there are plenty of clients waiting in the wings. That's just how our practice is. What we do is pretty unique. Not a lot of people do the combination of things that we do. And it's never going to be famine, right? We have a lot of feasting and we have no famining, okay? And I know that intellectually, but emotionally, it is really hard to turn away work. It is really hard for me, to figure out what that balance is. And I found myself yesterday, so we had to put one of our dogs down, and my sort of initial instinct was when everything was done and we had a vet who came to the house and she put Missy in a beautiful little basket and wrapped her up. And when she was gone, I shed some more tears. And then the first thing I thought of was I should go to work, because I think that's how I've dealt with emotions, right? There's always work to be done. So why don't I just go do some work and then I'll deal with my emotions that way? And I've never really thought about that. And that is not a good balance for me. I actually needed to grieve the dog and help my mom and help Ella get through that process. So I didn't come to the office, and it was a really good decision. And that's why I wanted to talk about this topic today, because it's really so important to fill up your cup. I have a wonderful friend named Kurt, and he brought me this beautiful cup and saucer. I'm looking at it right now. I know you can't see it, but it's from a retreat that he went to in Mexico. And it always reminds me that you have to fill up your cup first, right? You can't fill up anybody else's because you're not going to have anything there. So you have to have something in your cup to give other people. And as a leader, as an HR professional, these lessons are so valuable to remember. You can't push and push and push and expect people to keep going. Even if you're the Energizer Bunny and you don't need a lot of sleep and you love your job and you're happy to keep doing it and doing it and doing it and you just don't need a break, that is not how most people feel. That is not how most people are. So when you're thinking about your culture and you're thinking about your workload and your employee satisfaction, how you recruit, how you retain, the ability to say no is absolutely fundamental to your success. And I am learning this very late in my career. My 30th law school reunion is this year. It's in September. I cannot believe it has been 30 years, but it has been. I've been practicing for that long. I have learned so much, but I have so much left to learn. And one of the lessons that I'm feeling so strongly right now is this ability to say no. And I think for some of us, it comes very naturally. It's very easy to say, well, look, obviously I'm busy, so the answer is no. And I don't think about how somebody else might feel or the impact it may have. Others of us, we're so focused on the impact to the other people that we don't think about the impact to ourselves or the impact on the people we are working with. So I want to take this opportunity to remind everyone, balance is important. And I don't think it's the same for everyone. But leaders in the HR world, in employee relations, in labor relations, anything in the personnel universe, the ability to be that no for your employees is vital to their happiness. It's vital to your success. It's vital to the success of your organization. And you may have to practice. You may have to practice doing it. You may have to practice saying it. You may have to come up with what your spiel is going to be. But the ability to do it, the ability to actually say, okay, right now we can't take that project. And I hope you'll come back. And I hope you know that if we could, I would say yes. But right now, the answer has to be no. And that no is a full sentence, right? It doesn't mean that we're not going to do so professionally and we're not going to explain what's going on. But no is no. And the more we learn about that, the more you protect your team, the more you protect your employees, the more you understand what their limits are, the better leader you're going to be. And obviously, this is case by case, right? We have lawyers who work part-time. It's not really part-time because they're available when we need them. And many times they're working more of a full-time schedule just because of the workload. I have to be very careful not to overload them. And I haven't always been successful at that. Same thing with our full-time lawyers. Sometimes you tend to think, oh, well, they're full-time, so they can take this extra project. But it's going to throw something else out of balance. It might mean that a client who was waiting for something doesn't get it quickly enough now, that we have delayed them unnecessarily. Whereas if we had just said, no, we can't do that, that would have been a much better way to go. So this topic is written about everywhere. People have all sorts of things to say about this magic of no. And I encourage you to look into it. I encourage you to think about your ability to say no. What are you worried about? I know for me, I'm always worried about disappointing people. I'm worried about making sure that we have a robust law firm so that everybody has a job and everybody has bonuses and everybody has what they need. I'm worried about our pro bono clients because I know they need us particularly, and they're charitable organizations and they have, unique challenges, and all of that is really important. But if I don't have people here to do the work, if I can't do it all by myself, right? So if I'm going to have a team that is happy and successful and wanting to do the work, I have to be able to say no. So let me say, everyone, I am a work in progress on this issue. I am doing my best. I am working hard at it. I will continue working hard at it. And I want to say to any members of our team who might be listening to this podcast, thank you for everything you do. Thank you for all your hard work. Thank you for recognizing that I am far from perfect and doing my best, though, to get there. So thank you all so much for listening today. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope you have lots of fun things on the agenda for the rest of this week and the weekend, and I'll see you next time. Workplace Wake Up, including our guests and hosts, do not provide legal advice in this podcast. Do not act upon any of the information discussed in this podcast without first consulting a licensed attorney in your jurisdiction. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to spread the word, please share it with others, post about it on social media, and/or rate and review it. You can also follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook, and email us at info@shawlawgroup.com.